but more with sheer fabric. So if you're working with georgette or silk or something like that, you would have a continuous placket, not a chimney placket. Chimney is very tailored, so it's more menswear or a white tailored shirt. Let's see. Do you have a long sleeve shirt on over there?
I do. It's a men's shirt though.
Okay, so it's going to have a chimney. Okay, so I'm going to put this out of the way for a second.
Let it melt.
Here's your pattern. It's just a line. It's just a line in your pattern, okay? I don't see anybody's hanging around. So it's just a straight line, and it's got a bunch of little notches there. So this straight line, there'll be 2 clips. You're just going to make a dart. Draw it in with your pencil and sew it in, okay? I've done that already, okay? Then you're going to clip it right up to the point, okay? Be careful not to get too close to the point, because we're not going to reinforce it, unless you want to, but I'm not going to. Okay, then the next thing is you have this little stubby piece of fabric that they tell you to cut 1 of. It's not big enough, so cut 2 and piece it together, because it's not big enough. So here's my little strip. It's just a little strip. Okay, you're going to fold this in 1/4 of an inch on this side and press it like this. It's like you're just making a piece of bias tape, and you're going to fold this one in. Ouch, like this, and it's hot. Okay, so keep your fingers out of the way. Okay?
Don't get too close.
Yeah. Just don't push the steam on. Okay, so it's pressed in like this. Okay? Alright. Now, grab me those little silver scissors of mine with the white string so I can... Okay, this is much easier. It just looks complicated. Okay, we've drawn our dart in. But on the pattern it just looks like a straight line. Okay, so I'm going to cut right straight up the middle on that line that was on the pattern. And I'm going to be really careful right in the center. There. Okay? Now, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start here. And I'm going to line this up at 5/8 of an inch. There's my black line, and it's there. Okay, here's my fold. We use folds for marking instead of pins. And then there's the dart. Okay, now you have to see that, because this is pink and this is Hawaiian blue. Okay, so it starts out of 1/4 of an inch, and it goes, and this black line is on that pressed fold of this bias fabric. Okay, you're going to go right to here, sink the needle, and then lift the foot and pivot. It now becomes a straight piece of fabric. Okay, so right like this, and you don't even have to pin this. Just get over there, sink the needle, and turn it like this. Make sure that the fabric's out of the way, and then you're going to take your top stitching and line it up at the bottom of this fold. Okay, now can anybody not see that? It's in the textbook fabulously. Perfect drawing in the textbook. Okay, you're going to straight stitch it right on that line. Be really careful right in here. You want to stitch on the other side of that thread so that you catch it, because when you're sewing right here, you're right on the edge of that fabric. Okay, so then it looks like this. Okay, this is supposed to be white and this is cream. Okay, so now we're going to go like this. It's already pressed in. Where is it already pressed in? Right there. This folds in, and this folds over it, like so.
So it is kind of like a bias.
It is a bias.
You're making just a bias tape.
Yep, we're just basically making a bias tape. But you don't ever want to use package bias tape because it's cheap and it shrinks and it ruins your garments.
Plus, it's so fun when you have that little bias tape tool.
Yeah, you can use the bias tape. Okay? Yeah, it is fun.
This little thing you stick your thing and you pull it out.
Okay? So it just wraps around all those raw edges are inside. Okay? And it's now square. Now the pattern tells you it's on the straight, this little strip is on the straight grain. I would never do it on the straight grain. I'd always do it on the bias because it shapes it, makes it much easier to sew. Okay? If your fabric's on the bias, it'll do all of this shaping. If it's on the straighter grain, it's rather hard to manipulate this. And my little sample right here, this fabric is on the straight of grain. And if you'll feel it, it's pretty stiff. Okay? Besides it's heavy fabric. Okay, so when it's pressed, then it flips kind of funny like this. It's all pressed like this. It flips so that this is how it's going to look in your sample book. Like that. There shouldn't be any tucks right there.
I'm joking. I was like, it's so beautiful.
Right.
It is. It looks great. It'd be great in Georgette.
Yeah, it would.
Seriously.
Yeah, okay. So that's how it looks. So this actually folds in. You never see it when it's on the sleeve. That's why it's on women. Okay? Now, it looks like this on the inside, and if you notice, I just did a little tack, tack, tack. That just holds it in place. Otherwise, if it's not held in place, then it'll just plop out like that. Okay? Okay, so here's a finished one. Oh, when you stitch this right here, I've just folded it right over that top stitching, and or my original dart stitching, and I've just stitched right on the edge of the fold, so it's an edge stitch. But treat it now as if it's just straight. So you have to kind of be careful when you get to this pucker. That's why sinking the needle, lifting the foot. If you sink your needle and lift the foot, then you can reposition it and it's not going anywhere. Because the needle's got that fabric, held it in place, and then you can do all kinds of messing around with that. Fold this over and edge stitch it, just like this in green. Okay? This is a continuous Placket, but they should say continuous bias because this strip should be biased. Okay? So for next week, 6 samples. 1 sleeve, 4 chimneys, and this. This is simple. Did everybody not get the chimney placket?